All right, everyone. Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news from Twitter, the daily fail, meme review, software releases, the websites by plebes. We've got it all. Drop us a like and subscribe. Check out my new background. Let me know what you guys think. Anyways, here we go. It's numbers time. Okay. We are currently at a block height of 670,764. Current Bitcoin price 47,845. Chain rewrite days 567. Total lightning capacity 1,078.14 BTC. Bitcoin versus gold market cap healthy 7.53%, still climbing. And sats per dollar, a little bump up, but 2,090.
Dude,
still going down though.
Uber bullish. I can't believe we're consolidating at these levels, right? Because in 2017, at the tippity top, we only stayed there like a week or two. Right here,
no consolidation.
There's no consolidation. And you know what the crazy part is, Phil? Is that I don't think a lot of us are feeling euphoric yet. What we're really feeling is bored. A lot of us are like, okay,
waiting.
You know, like that meme with the guy.
We're waiting for it to happen. You know, we're all just waiting for it to happen. Like, we know this hasn't happened yet.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, people are like, oh, Bitcoin hit all-time high. It's happening. It's like, no, it's not happening yet.
Exactly.
Not even close. Like sitting on the runway, people are moving like the little pylons out from behind the wheels. So, yeah, exactly. Right. They're just checking to make sure the freaking things are working, you know?
Yeah, no, it's true. But anyways, very bullish, very exciting. It's time for
the daily fail. All right, guys. This is actually Nico that found this fail, so shout out to you for finding this one for us. This is a sad Tanus. He said at 10K, I said BTC would end in tears. And he goes, I was right. I don't own any, and I could cry. Okay, so look. There's a very important point in all of this, and this is something that most Bitcoin hodlers have gone through, or even no coiners at this point, whether they want to admit it or not. But it is this Bitcoin purchase remorse, okay? Or I would say like the fact that you didn't purchase remorse, and this has happened to all of us. You know, it's like I still remember, you know, finding Bitcoin back when it was $400. You know, why did I use it to spend back then? Why didn't I buy a ton of it and hang on to it? Why didn't I understand it better? You know, all these questions, right? And then what happens? You reflect on that, and if you're being, you know, objective with yourself, you're going to say, okay, I didn't do enough research, and that's why I missed this. I need to educate myself, you know? So this is more of like a lesson fail. You know, it's like, we always think that we were too late to Bitcoin. There's people sitting there looking at it right now. You know what? There's a guy that I work with. We were sitting there talking about it at 3,400, and he kept on telling me that it was too volatile and it's probably going to go down into the thousands, you know, like in like the 1,700 range. And I was like, don't wait for that. And look, in that particular instance, I was right. Could have gone that low, and people have asked me, well, what would happen if you bought it at 34 and still bought it at, you know, and what would happen if it went to 17? Well, I would have bought that much more at 17 again.
Yeah, sorry. What were we saying?
Oh no, go ahead. That was it.
Yeah, so you know, but I like, and I think that's one of the first steps for people is basically admitting, you know, I made a mistake, and it's very hard for you know, the blue check marks, like I like to call them. So they're never wrong. They're never wrong, right? That's why they have a blue check mark, you know, the fact checkers. But you know, it's very good to see that type of humility, and it's a step in the right direction for his pocket, you know, for his future. So yeah, I mean, but look, it doesn't matter, you know, when you got in. Obviously, you know, you'll have more corn, you'll have a bigger stack, but what matters is, you know, being sovereign, like getting out of the system, defunding the system peacefully with opting out into Bitcoin, right? So I think that it's like Elon, you know, Elon on the Clubhouse the other day, you know, basically said the same thing. He's like, look, I made a mistake, but I'm here now, you know, so it doesn't matter when you get in. It's more important that you get in, because 4 or 5 years into the future, if Bitcoin goes where we think it's going, you know, you're not going to care if you got it at 5,000 or 7,000. You know, you're not going to give a crap. You know, it's just, you're just pinching pennies for no reason, right? So yeah, it's a great fail. Good segment, Phil. It's time for
the daily meme review.
All right, everybody. The meme for today is brought to us by Psychedelic Bart. And you know what? He's a pretty big Bitcoin account, but he's still a plebe. He still manages to be a plebe. Would you agree with that statement, Phil?
Absolutely. Psychedelic Bart was one of the first accounts I ever followed on Bitcoin Twitter. If there's any noobs, you definitely want to follow Psychedelic Bart. He's Absolutely. A total awesome Bitcoiner, straight up dude. He's a total Bitcoiner, and he's pretty big, which is it's very hard. You know, the bigger you get the influence power. You know, it starts to corrupt, but hasn't happened to Psychedelic Barto. Anyways, awesome. Check out his meme. Bears waiting for Bitcoin to fall. Bitcoin, dude, hilarious. Accurate, easy to fall. Those goats, I think I saw a video of them on like National Geographic. Or absolutely, seeing the video of them just walking up a vertical wall is absolutely crazy. Great source material. It was funny. It was easy to understand. Phil, I'm going to give that 8.7. What about you? Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. So easy to understand. Love those mountain goat pictures. I mean, how the hell do they do that? Any one of us would stand up on that wall. We would just fall right down and die. So that's pretty cool. It's relatable. And I'm, yeah, you know, and it was fun. I'm going with a solid 9 on this one.
Good score for a good meme. Good score for a good meme. And that being said, Phil, it's time for
the Daily News, sponsored by Crypto Cloaks.
All right, everybody. The news for today is brought. I mean, look, there wasn't that much news for today. It was weird. It was like on the weekend, there was a lot of news. And the weekday, I mean, it is Monday, you know, so maybe slow down a little bit.
President's Day.
It's President's Day, right? Bitcoin, I don't know. It's weird. Bitcoin doesn't take any days off. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking now. Awesome tweet by documenting Bitcoin. And I thought it was really cool, Phil. Like, check it out. Progress of Bitcoin becoming worth more than all of the silver on the planet. Absolutely insane. It's going to blow right past that number. But the number to keep an eye on is gold, which is coming very close. We covered it today on Clark Moody's dashboard. It was like almost 8%, right? So Bitcoin's chugging along, super bullish. Also super bullish as well. One of the richest men in the world, Mexican man. You know, he says it right here in Spanish. A Mexican businessman. Look at that. He has Bitcoin in his bio. I wonder why, right? You know, maybe it's just a fad. Who knows? Anyways, this was pretty huge. Umbrel, folks, it's time. I'm going to read their tweet, folks. It is time to once again push the limit of what you could do with your Bitcoin node, announcing Umbrel version 0.03.3. And it's pretty awesome. It adds Samurai Server, adds a Bitcoin Explorer, a Lightning Wallet, pools, open, lease, earn, stock. I don't, mess with that I don't mess with that, but I like these other features. It's pretty cool. Umbrel is one of, the best operating whatever you want to call it for Bitcoin nodes. Personally, I'm a fan of my node BTC. It does have all those features that they said, but it's good to have competition. It's good to have many people doing the same thing so that competition moves the innovation forward, right? So I'm a fan of Umbrel. I've downloaded it before, but it's not my daily Bitcoin driver, right? Phil, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay. What was the first article that you showed? Because I wanted to comment on that first. But I just don't remember.
I didn't show any articles, but what I did is I showed the Mexican billionaire.
Oh, the silver. That's right. The amount of silver.
Silver,
yeah. Okay, perfect. So yeah, don't worry about it. You can go back to just us. Okay. So, just a couple of comments on the silver thing, right? I've been seeing a lot of commercials on TV every time I make the mistake of turning off Netflix and going to regular cable television. See a whole bunch of commercials. Yeah, exactly. About like, what's his name there? Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, who ripped off all of his material from Napoleon Hill anyways, with like all of the other gurus out there, but I digress. Anyways, look, the utility use case for silver, I know that, I saw the comment over there that somebody was like, oh, that's, what's above ground. It's like, yeah, we have no idea what's in the ground. It's what's verifiable. That's right. Silver, I'm really sorry. Like, we've been watching it for years. I remember my father telling me to get into silver. It really has never done very much. And the only thing that they can ever come up with is that, look, it's right after gold, and look at how much silver gets used in all the electronics. That's been the same story for years. No one gives a shit. Anyways, but moving on to the nodes, right? So at this point, okay, if people are keeping track, okay, you've got the Raspberry Blitz, you've got the MyNode, and you've got the Umbrel, okay, that you can download for free and run, okay? There's other ones, right, that you can pay for, like like the Nodl, or the Embassy node, where you can just purchase the software, okay, but you go and you either buy the node from them or you buy the hardware yourself. Look, all of these are great. All the the competition between all of them is fantastic, and I think they're all going to serve to push each other, because MyNode at this point, I think, boasts like 17 different services or something like that. I might be slightly wrong on that. Raspberry Blitz, very similar, except it's totally it's totally free. When it comes to nodes, right, it all depends on your comfort level. So if you're confused, you got to go with what you really feel like doing. Do you want to be a tinkerer, or do you just want to use it like an appliance, right? If you want to use it like an appliance, you may want to look at something like the MyNode. You may want to look at something like the Embassy. You may want to look at something like, the Nodl, but if you want to tinker, well, then you may want to look at the Umbrel, which is not too much tinkering in the software, but you would have to buy your own hardware, or you're going to look at the Raspberry Blitz, or even the parent of the Raspberry Blitz, the Raspberry Bolt. All right. Awesome. That's my rant on all the nodes. We can go on and on.
I like it, man. It is simply Bitcoin, so we do have to talk about nodes, right? It is simply Bitcoin. All of our audience are going to love what you're saying, because they're definitely node junkies. And I say that in a good way.
Hit us up if you have questions.
Exactly. Our DMs are always open. And, Phil and I specialize in different things. I'm more coming from the mining side. He comes more from the node side. So feel free to hit us up whenever you want. Anyways, I thought this was really interesting, Phil. Check this out. Reserve requirements. We all know that banks are fractionally reserved. What is fractional reserve? If you deposit $100 in your bank account, the bank by law only has to hold a reserve of that, aka fractional reserve, right? So
apparently not.
Apparently not now, because exactly. Check this out. This is very scary. Okay, I don't even know what this means. I looked up what it means, and the fact that I couldn't understand it easily, kind of tells you many things, right? It's not supposed to be understood so well. And we'll go into that, all right? I'm not going to just end it at that. But net transaction accounts, percent of liabilities, 0% effective date. Guess what? This was when the coronavirus, started ramping up. What are net transaction accounts? Well, I looked it up on Google, and what are net transaction accounts? Net transaction accounts are the sum of transaction accounts minus demand balances due from other U.S. depository institutions and cash items in the process of collections. What does that mean? I don't know.
Just means they don't have to hold any money.
Exactly. Like what you
don't need to hold anything.
What you need to know is that according net it could be anything. The bank doesn't need to hold anything in reserve. So if everyone basically went to the bank and said, hey, give me back my money, the bank literally does not have the money to give back everyone their money, right? That's how the fractional reserve system works, right? 1933, that's exactly what happened. There was a huge bank run after the stock market crash, and people needed to pay off debts. What happened? The banks said, dude, sorry, I don't have I don't have your money, right? I don't have it to give it to you.
Don't look now, but there's something funny going on over there at the bank, George. I've never really seen one, but that's got all the earmarks of being a run. Hey, lady, you got any money in the bank? You better hurry.
What resulted in that, obviously, was the Great Depression and then the creation of something called the FDIC, right? Which is, it federally insures, the cash on deposit. I think in the United States, it's up to $250,000, right? However, okay, you're telling me that if because in the United States, there's only like 5 or 6 banks, right? Of the big banks that own all the other smaller banks, and the smaller banks get bought up by the bigger banks. You're telling me that if one of those goes bust, that's not going to cause a domino effect? And you're telling me that the FDIC is going to pay everyone's money that those banks, could lost for them? Could they afford to do that? Well, how bad do you think the money printer is going to go? How hard do you think it's going to go when that happens, right? So it's just, look, we can't tell you exactly what it is, but if this was a very healthy financial system, why would they allow 0% reserves? Like that questions, like it just puts, it's a question, and they use the same thing happened in 2008, like mortgage-backed securities. No one knew you could ask someone with an economics master's degree and they have no idea what the hell that means, right? It's the same type of complicated jumbo that I feel like they put to kind of guise exactly what they're doing. Phil, does that sound very conspiracy? Because it sounds very conspiracy theory to me, right? It's just maybe I'm just too deep down the rabbit hole, man. But it's too obvious. Like, what the hell is going on?
As we were looking at that image, of the Fed Reserve and those rates, all I'm picturing is a circus with a bunch of clowns coming out, and they're dressed up in suits, right? And they're pretending to do business, and everybody's laughing because everybody knows that they're just LARPing. And that's exactly how I feel about the Fed Reserve and the central bankers. I feel like they wake up every morning and they LARP that they're handling the world's money supply, but they have no clue what the fuck they're doing. Like they have no idea what they're doing. And at this point, they have run out. They've run out of bullets. They've got nothing left. The only thing they have left is the money printer. And essentially the length of time that works is the length of time until enough of the population wakes up and demands change. That it's as simple as that. Otherwise, they're just going to keep printing till infinity. I mean, why would they not? Right? If no one is demanding better, why? Why would they not?
This is the banker you were talking about. The one that's laughing in the background.
There he goes.
There he is.
There you go.
That guy. Look at him. That guy wants
He's a clown dressed in a suit.
He's a clown dressed in a suit. Man, and
they dress like that because they have to feed you bullshit. And the only way they're going to do that is dressed up nice, so you don't pay attention to the shit they're telling you.
Yeah, no, it's true. And even the architecture of banks themselves, the architecture of banks themselves, like they're supposed to inspire confidence. That's why they're big buildings with marble and this and that.
Of course.
It's like,
supposed to be imposing, important.
Exactly.
Right? Something to be feared, something powerful. It's all bullshit. In the words of George Carlin, it's all bullshit and it's all bad for you.
Exactly. All right. So the next piece of news, Phil, I thought this was very interesting, and this kind of goes back to Bitcoin's game theory, right? And just giving the example of Miami, which seems to be the first mover. We did report on Sunday, essentially that, the city approves of the mayor's plans to, put Bitcoin as a reserve asset and to potentially let people pay taxes in Bitcoin and pay city employees in Bitcoin, right? So, I wouldn't have reported this normally, but, this doesn't seem like an unreputable source. So expresscode.uk, I've seen news from them before. But again, take this like a grain of salt because I haven't been able to confirm this anywhere else, but I wouldn't be surprised, right? So London told to slash red tape and embrace Bitcoin as city moves on from EU post-Brexit. It's not outlandish to think that, right? Bitcoin, it plays on that game theory, right? That this game theory of if you do not add Bitcoin as a reserve asset, you're putting yourself at a severe disadvantage to cities that do. Right. So it comes to a point where your political ideologies and what you believe in are irrelevant. It's, do you have Bitcoin or do you not have Bitcoin? So it's not surprising to me to start to hear rumors coming out that London is going to follow suit, especially after their divorce from the European Union. Right. So, is it going to happen? We don't know. But stay tuned, because we will report it here first on Simply Bitcoin. Anyways, Phil, what are your thoughts on London potentially being Miami number 2?
Look, if it's real, right? If it's real, this just this just keeps adding to the, to the flood, right? And Bitcoin is interesting because in a way it's kind of a unifier, because what it does is that, this is kind of a social signaling, right? If it's real, right? It's a social signal, and it's telling everyone, hey, if you come bring your business and your time and your talents here, we are going to be, we're going to be favorable towards, the fact that you're a Bitcoiner and your Bitcoin holdings. So I think we're starting to see exactly the stuff we were talking about, like 3 years ago, that, cities, states, countries are going to start catering towards Bitcoiners, because at the end of the day, they want their revenue. And I think the difference that this is going to bring about is that, Bitcoiners, I think, and again, I'm speaking generally and broadly, but, Bitcoiners want value, right? And the problem that we have had is that government provides poor service for poor value, right? It costs us a lot for very poor service. So if the governments are going to expect to bring Bitcoiners to their cities, to their states, to their countries, they are going to have to find a way to provide value. So I think it's very interesting.
Absolutely.
Because again, right, you can't freeze a Bitcoiner's Bitcoin account or anything. So if you're going to want them to separate themselves from their Bitcoin, they are going to have to want to pay you for a service that they feel they're getting value for.
It's crazy because it flips. It flips the system on its end.
Does.
The people benefit, not the few.
Everyone,
people benefit.
Even the few end up benefiting begrudgingly. Oh no, I'm not the only one who's enjoying life. Oh, woe is me.
I'm not an elite
anymore. A whole bunch of other people get to store their value. How terrible.
I'm not an elite anymore. All the deplorables, all the degenerates are here with me. Please. So it always reminds me of the Klaus guy from the World Economic Forum, aka the neo-communist, just with his suit, and his tie. And what you said was hilarious. It was like, they just think they're better than us, which they clearly do. These are the people that say you'll own nothing and be happy, but they will own everything. And trust me, they'll make sure you'll be happy. But no. Bitcoin's going to stop their plan right in their tracks. And the Great Reset is going to come from Bitcoin. It's not going to come from their crazy BS, right? Hopefully. But anyways, we'll cover it here first on Simply Bitcoin. Phil, there was a software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. Yeah, so we had that little segment on the nodes before. So the software release for today is Umbrel version 0.3.3, and the details to that down below in the show notes.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. That was totally a coincidence. I totally didn't realize that the update. So
I totally have no idea.
So you got the details of the software release today on today's Simply Bitcoin episode. It was light on the news today. And we want to know what you guys think of Phil's background. In the beginning, I was not so much a fan, but towards the end, I started warming up to it tremendously, and now I'm a big fan, right? So, but let us know what you guys think. This show is for you guys. It is for our followers. It is for our viewers. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. If you guys like the episode, smash that like button. If you guys love the episode, subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow for another episode of Simply Bitcoin.